Namaste, sentient beings, citizen of Gotham. It is Monday, May 18th, 2015. Hope all of you are well. Thanks for stopping by and tuning in. ANP, United States government actively trains to round up and destroy Christians, resistors. The purge of God from the military was led in to war against Americans. This is about JADE HELM, obviously. I've been meaning to do a post on it. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. I don't know. I'd like to, but it'd be so lengthy. Probably like 2 40-minute videos, and I just don't think people are going to watch. Anyway, I'll just preface it with probably, since I'm not going to do it, my interpretation, and this is my discernment only, my supposition. Not saying this is going to happen. It's not fear-mongering either. It's my interpretation from reading, researching, and discerning, and nothing more, because everything in this world is subjective through one's perception. And nothing has to be completely based on facts. I've already talked about that in other videos. Excuse me. So I won't digress into that. Irrespective of that, the JADE HELM thing, which is supposed to start in July 15th, July 15th, might, and it has been actually, been starting earlier than that, because they already have boots on the ground in other states. They've already done a lot of exercises and rounding up people and walking them around, so forth and so on. So technically it's already started, although officially it starts July 15th. A lot of it, people are wondering what is going on. I've discussed in some other videos about the tunnels and Walmart and using Home Depot. Obviously these big, huge entities are there for processing. And what I mean by that is, besides processing, rather, they're also there for munitions and stockpiling. So they'll have weapons, ammunition, munitions, whatever other agents, chemicals, and whatever warfare agents that they need, plus all their other stock of, paraphernalia, whether it be clothes or, water bottles and tanks and all that. All that stuff will be in those things. The tanks and all that will be underground, because all these two entities, like Home Depot and Walmart, and mostly Walmart's been in the news, not so much Home Depot, but these two entities have subdivisions or sub-basements, so they have 3 or 4 levels deep. Some of them might even get lower than that. So that's where they'll put all the tanks and all that. Those are all connected with the tunnels. The tunnels go all around the world. They can get to places within minutes or hours at the very least. Most of these have these high-trained speed trains that are underground that can go to places within 5 or 10 minutes to get across the world in 5 or 10 minutes. So that's what they'll be using. They're using those things besides to move about in transportory reasons. Also for false flag attacks, which is a provocation of war. False flag is a provocation of war. It's not a psyop or hoax. There's a difference. That the false flag attacks will refer to nuclear attacks, meaning they will have nuclear events, 2, 3, or 4. They might even have more, but they'll have at least 2 or 3. They'll probably use a dirty bomb and blame Iran and Syria and Pakistan, and they'll blame ISIS and the Muslim countries, because then you'll have all these people against Muslims, so forth and so on, creating all this chaos. So they can move around freely underground and not be affected by the nuclear fallout and radiation that's going on above, so forth and so on. Another reason why these Home Depot and Walmarts are being used, as I said, besides munitions and all that stuff, and stockpiling and all that, like a stock place or surplus store, like they are, they'll also be there, in my opinion, and in my humble opinion, they'll be there to process people. A certain amount of people, just like in Germany, are going to be shot when the whole thing goes into martial law, or the shit hits the fan, whatever you want to call it, that proverbial statement. So they'll process people in these things. The people that don't get shot immediately are executed immediately on site in their homes and dragged out and thrown into big trailers and just taken and, I guess, cremated, or whatever happens to them. They'll probably be ground up and fed to the internment camps and rendition camp people. That the people that will be processed will go to these processing centers, the 2 entities I mentioned. They'll get processed. They'll be given their skivvies, or whatever you want to call it, their pajamas, whatever they're supposed to be wearing. The JADE HELM has the clog in it, so that maybe they're going to reference. That's referencing Nazi camp people who were held. They had to wear wooden clogs and all that, and have no laces, so they might bring that back, or they might get like those little slippers, the thong slippers. Who knows? But the point is that I think that those will be mostly used for processing people for rendition and FEMA camps, or internment camps, which will be the supposed FEMA camps, which are really run by the DOH and DOD, and owned by them and operated by them, where they'll ship people off into these big stadium-like camps. I think there might be some type of executions also at these processing camps, where they might, they talk about the guillotines. Who knows if that's true, or if that will be there, but you could also surmise, or at least in my opinion, I can surmise that these entities that I mentioned, those 2, you could, since they're large enough, you can have a whole floor of an extermination where you can put people in there, either gas them or guillotine them. I would presume gassing. I don't know if gassing might be more money. Maybe it costs more. They don't really care about money because they have all the money. So I would assume like 1 or 2 floors are going to be, one floor might be straight up where you just exterminate people, another floor might be what they're cremating them with, and so forth and so on. So that's what I think they're going to be using those things for. The other part of why Jade Helm is going on, and they're going to say, yeah, it's just exercises, and we're not carrying live ammo, but you're going to hear bangs and explosions and all that. I've mentioned in other videos. That is because they will be carrying out rendition during the wee hours of the morning, which is why they're going to be operating in the wee hours of the morning, meaning that between 12 and 8, whenever, or whatever, 11, 4, 5, whatever, they're probably going to be doing most of their SWAT-like raids between 2 and 4 and 5. When everyone's asleep, everyone doesn't know what's going on, they're going to come in, they say, already preface, oh, you're going to hear gunshots and stuff, but they aren't real. You're going to hear bombs, they're not real. Those are going to be real events. They're not going to be false. They're going to be shooting canisters into homes, smoke bombs to disorient people. They're going to be murdering people, and people will be hearing that, and then people are going to be disappearing. But what happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? Well, they're going to be murdering people, and they're going to be going after 2 different types of people: people who have guns, which is why Texas is the biggest, red state that they have and considered hostile because they have the most lenient gun laws and they abide by the Second Amendment, unlike most other states don't have the abiding by the Second Amendment. So they're going to go and attack every one of these people, because most of those people had to register their weapons, so they know where they live, they know what kind of weapons they have, so they'll come in the wee hours of the morning and intern these people if they don't resist, and then more than likely I think they'll be giving the orders, and again, my supposition, to just execute these people, go in, execute them, take their weapons, that's it. Burn down the house, whatever, if they have a nice house, leave it, and then we move into it, whatever. So that's what's going to be happening, and the other people they want to go after are Christians, which I didn't really mention before, but I kind of alluded to it, that they have problems with the Christians and all that, because they don't like God-fearing people, whatever, and then most of these operations that are being run by satanic people or Satanist people, which is the hybrid Illuminati. I call them the hybrid Illuminati because they're crossbred with the Draconians. The Draconians are, the reptiles that I think run the world, even though that sounds insane. Anyway, that's what's probably going to happen, and that's what I think. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm insane, and I'm just, I'm wrong. I'm not trying to, again, fearmonger. This is just my supposition, which I've prefaced it like 3 or 4 times already, and it's just going off of my discernment of what I think. It doesn't make any sense to be having this exercise at all on homeland and saying, well, we're practicing to do this overseas. You practice where you're going to execute it. They're practicing on homeland. They're violating posse comitatus. They've already warned you that, oh, you're going to hear rounds and guns and bombs, but it's all fake. That's all bullshit. That's to just lie to you to get people to supposedly believe in that this is just an exercise, and it's not. They're going to go through with this. Now, maybe they might not start it officially on July 17th. They might wait a little while, but this is something they're going to do. And usually the military abides by their rules or their projections of time frames and so forth. So now that I wasted 25 minutes. Author's note: the prophecy shown at the end of the article regarding our military's war against Christians was written before it began in earnest and wasn't on anyone's radar at the time, so it was timely. So it is a timely reminder and message to members of the military. Before Jade Helm and other disturbing military exercises, along with documentation of massive military movement across the country, started topping the headlines, many believed there was an orchestrated effort to take God or the men of faith from the military in order to facilitate the United States declaring war on its own citizens, specifically those of faith. Another thing that they're not talking about is that the military fired or purged. I don't know if they could technically fire, but I think they fired him. Or at the very least they removed and did a purge of sorts with 2 different types of people in power. The generals and all the people that were high up who said that I don't believe in this, I don't want to do this, and I'm not going to shoot and kill civilians, they were removed from the positions, either fired or were let go. They were removed, that's it. Also, they went after the same type of people who said, well, are you a Christian and all that, and all the people who are religious and want to believe, or Christians and believe in Christianity, they were removed as well. So they removed 2 types of demographics from the military. They basically are left with the psychopaths who will follow orders, who will violate posse comitatus, and who will be on civilian land with live weapons shooting live civilians. And the people who are doing that are obviously psychopaths, because that's not what the military is for. And any of the military that says, well, I don't believe in that, but I'm still going to do it, then you're complicit. Then you're a contradiction, a walking contradiction, and you have cognitive dissonance, and there's obviously something wrong. You're developed, at the very least, a psychosis from your conditioning of being in the military. Because if you know what you're doing is wrong, you just don't do it. You say, I'm not going to do it, I'll live with the repercussions, I'm not going to go on civilian land that's violating posse comitatus, I'm not going to be arresting civilians, moreover, I'm not going to be shooting innocent civilians, parents, children, dogs, pregnant women, because they're protecting their home turf or their property. That's insanity. Moving on, Phase 1, the military purge. Since 2009, when Barack Obama took office, there has been an unprecedented amount of high-level military members who have been purged from the armed forces. That's what I'm speaking about. I haven't read this article, obviously. The veterans speaking out about what happened, shown in specific quotes below via the End of the American website. Retired Army Major General Allegedly, the White House protects their own. That's why they stalled on the investigation into the Fast and Furious, Benghazi, and Obamacare. He intentionally weakening and gutting our military, Pentagon, and reducing us as a superpower. And anyone in the ranks who disagrees or speaks out is being purged. That's what I said. Those are my exact words. Retired Army Major General Patrick Brady. There is no doubt that Obama is intent on emasculating the military and will fire anyone who disagrees with him. And the sources, I'm not putting those in, you can find them just through this website. I'll put this link in, but you can find the links on your own. Retired Army Lieutenant General William G. Jerry Boykin. Jesus, do you think he has enough names and titles? Over the past 2 years, it is unprecedented for the number of the 4-star generals to be relieved of duty, but not necessarily relieved for cause. Retired Navy Captain Joseph John, JJ. I believe that there are more than 137 officers who have been forced out or given bad evaluation reports, so they will never make flag officer because of their failure to comply with certain wishes, which I just went over for 25 minutes in my harangue. Phase 1 was about getting rid of high-level military members that one could get that would get in the way of the ultimate endgame strategy. Phase 2, purging God and faith in the military. Faith is always under an all-out attack, with the military, with the chaplains threatened for promoting Christian beliefs, specifically religious beliefs, being termed extremists, and the military environment being called hostile to Christians. People of faith are going to stay away from the military, said Mr. Barry in an interview with the Washington Times. I can't tell you how many moms and dads I've spoken to who say, my son and daughter wants to join the military. Excuse me. But in light of what you described, I'm not sure I want to let them join the military anymore, and I don't blame them. I would have serious reservations about my kids joining, Mr. Barry said. Douglas Lee, president of the Chaplain Alliance for Religious Liberty, whose job it is to find people who want to be chaplains and make sure they're also qualified to serve in the military, said growing religious hostility within the military is making it harder for them to find potential recruits and for the armed forces to maintain the chaplains it does have. I know people who get out, officers and chaplains who've said, I can't serve the way I want in this environment, said Mr. Lee, who also served as an army chaplain. People who've said, because of the religious liberty challenge I see, I think I'll serve somewhere else. In September 2014, USA Today and many news outlets reported that the Air Force officially withdrew the requirement that all airmen who take oath of enlistment and officer appointment conclude with "So help me God" to appease atheists. To understand why the particular change is so concerning to those of faith, people must understand that the first military oath under the Constitution was approved by the Act of Congress 29, September 1789, and while minor changes have been made since, historically the "So help me God" has been a part of the oath. The wording in the current oath of enlistment and oath of commissioned officers is as follows. I'll let you guys read that. Just I don't waste time reading it. When the initial reports were published showing that certain training materials used at a briefing with the Army Reserve Unit based in Pennsylvania listed evangelical. God, I can't speak. Christianity, Catholicism, and even Islamophobia. I never even heard of that, Islamophobia. That's funny. As examples of religious extremism alongside of the groups like Ku Klux Klan, Hamas, and Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda database. The initial reaction was disbelief. The Army instantly pushing back, saying this wasn't official training material. But when seen in the light of the aforementioned points, showing a chilling and insidious agenda being implemented. It gets worse, though, as we see that not only is the U.S. Government labeling religious groups along with the conservatives, constitutionalists, preppers, survivalists, and others and as extremists and greater threats than the terror group ISIS, because ISIS isn't real, but according to the AC-130U aerial gunner and AFSOC posted by Stephen Quayle in October 2013, in his SQ asserts, warns that the training purposes churches are used as enemy headquarters. Right. Picture this, at 9,000 feet in a 30-degree bank orbit, an AC-130 gunship firepower enough to handle most any close airport support, CAS, call for fire tasking is above any town in the United States of America, along with the simulated stack of UAV AT 6 to 7,000 feet and a faster mover over top. I don't know what that mover over top. I will try to give you a feel for the mission execution pattern. I'm really trying to read fast because I don't want this to be a 30 because it's a long article. I saw the article's long. Plus I talked for 25 minutes. I will try to give you a feel for the mission execution pattern. Is simulated, cleared, and we have clearance to go hot over the target unless we have a kill box. Then it is open season. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? First simulated round of 105 mm HEI is sent through the roof of the building. This stirs the enemy, and soon they're running in every direction. Time to go to DDT. DTA, dual target attack mode, with 105s, still addressing the building structure. We then simulate bringing the number 1 25mm or number 2 40mm gun online to assist in eliminating any IR signatures that are simulated, running out of the doors and windows. I will let you fill in the rest. So they're just talking about dropping a bomb, and then as everyone scatters like roaches, shooting everyone that comes out. America! America! Fucking idiots, excuse me. Everything during the event during a dry fire mission is simulated. No live rounds ever get chambered or more toward the guns. That's bullshit. No live rounds ever get chambered and moved toward the guns. Bullshit. Bullshit. What I want to make you aware of is our use of churches as enemy headquarters. Could it be that leadership is desensitizing us, special ops crew, requiring professionals in possible future missions in firing on churches? There might be nothing to this training, but I thought you might want to see if your sources might be right. Might know, rather. Barack Obama has stated publicly that whatever we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation. That's crazy. He mocked the Bible, and let us not forget about where, before he was elected, he referred to people in small towns as clinging to their gods and religion as a way to explain their frustrations. Christianity is under attack across the globe, but what many do not understand is that it is also under attack here in the United States, within the military, within the court system, and by the Obama administration. And as we see Christians being slaughtered around the world, this is what many believe is coming to America as well. ANP was reminded earlier via email of Obama's open border policies, where terrorist groups have openly stated they are eyeing open border 2 into America, as well as thousands of Muslim Syrian refugees are being imported by the Obama administration into cities as well as across America. This is especially noteworthy because interviews with smugglers providing evidence that ISIS members and other terrorists are hiding within those refugees. They're not ISIS, anyway. If you look to the recent news on Christians being slaughtered across the globe, you will note that they are being murdered by Islamic extremists. So we're talking about extremists, fanatics, not ISIS, which is made up. Which is why our source tells us, imagine the bloodbath as Christians are disarmed while our armed and trained Muslims are turned loose on the surviving disarmed Christians. Former SNL actress, star and actress Victoria Jackson has a must-read article titled "Obama Hates Christianity," with line items that include examples of Obama's hostility toward people of biblical faith, acts of hostility from the Obama-led military toward people of biblical faith, and hostility toward biblical values. Those examples include, but are not limited to, November 2010, Obama misquotes the national motto, saying it is e pluribus unum, rather than in God we trust, as established by federal law. October 19, 2010, Obama begins deliberately omitting the phrase about the Creator when quoting the Declaration of Independence, an omission he has made on no less than 7 occasions. Unbelievable. On May 2009, Obama declines to host services for the National Prayer Day, a day established by federal law, at the White House. April 2009, when speaking at Georgetown University, Obama orders that a monogram symbolizing Jesus' name be covered when he is making a speech. Unbelievable. Half this stuff I never even heard of. May 2013, an Air Force officer was actually made to remove a personal Bible from his own desk because it might appear that he was condoning that particular religion to which he belonged. What happened to free speech, right? No, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not, it's free speech. In November 2011, even while restricting and disappropriating Christian religious expressions, the Air Force Academy paid $80,000 to add a Stonehenge-like worship center for pagans, druids, witches, and Wiccans, Wiccans I think it is, at the Air Force Academy. June 2011, the Department of Veterans Affairs forbids references to God and Jesus during burial ceremonies at Houston National Cemetery. January 2010, because of concerns raised by Department of Defense, tiny Bible verses references that have appeared for decades on scopes and gun sights were removed. June 2013, the U.S. Air Force, is in consultation with the Pentagon, removed an inspirational painting that for years has been hanging at Mount HELM Air Force Base because its title was "Blessed are the Peacemakers," a phrase from Matthew 5:9 in the Bible. In the first video below, the article Judge Jeanine Pirro, she's such a POS, discusses Obama's anti-Christian pro-Islamic comments at the National Prayer Breakfast in 2015, saying that we are so relieving that after 6 years she finally figured that Democrat president out. That she is so revealing, Desensitizing definition in Merriam-Webster Dictionary. To make a sensitized or hypersensitive individual insensitive or non-active to a sensitizing agent, to make emotionally insensitive or callous, specifically to extinguish an emotional response as fear, anxiety, or guilt, to stimuli the formerly induced it. They're just talking about brainwashing people to be desensitized with shooting as this supposed pregnant, she's not really pregnant, but pregnant woman with a gun, or a kid holding a gun, or what looks like a gun. He's holding a gun, but this is just about desensitizing the military, which they already are because they're violating posse comitatus, to actually come in and shoot people. This is going on and on and on. I don't want to turn this into 30-minute video. It's already 20 minutes. So anyway, it's just very disgusting stuff. Friday in ANP's article by Stefan Stanford titled "JADE HELM Training to Kill Mom and Take Over Our Towns," which right here is a perfect example of how law enforcement and U.S. military are being desensitized to enable them to consider shooting at American citizens if ordered to, which they will. The article, especially police, the article described recent targets being used by Marines in training exercises, one of which is described as a soccer mom showing a woman with manicured nails and a wedding ring holding a weapon. According to the Marine Corps press release, this realistic military training exercise occurred in February 2015. How is this realistic military training? Shooting people who are civilians. Amazing, right? It should just be targets. It shouldn't be people. Pictures of people. It should be targets with lines and numbers on them, right? Or just lines, right? Amazing. We consistently see denials about whether the United States military would follow orders if given to fire on Americans, and it's easy to understand the visceral reaction to that thought. Understand that many would not, will not, and are remaining positioned deliberately in order to be in the right place at the right time to stand with Americans. I don't believe in this. Sorry, I don't believe that most military will not do that. Most military are brainwashed and they follow orders. If that was the case, then why are they bringing all these munitions in? Why are guards standing protecting them? Why are the military preparing? If that was the case, you would see an exodus. You would see the military shut down because people would just quit and say, no, we're not doing this. So obviously this is not a true statement. This is an assumption that is obviously not buttressed by what I just said because of what's happening. Again, if it was true, the army people, military soldiers would be getting out of it and warning people, and they're not. Do you see that? Do you see tons of military online warning people? Do you see them? Do you see tons of military people leaving the military right now, saying, "Oh, this shit's going to go down. We got to get out of it"? No. And for them to say, "Oh, well, they're staying in it to protect people," no, that's not it. I don't think so. Unless I'm stupid. Maybe they're all on this secret ninja thing where they're going to pretend that they're a part of it, and then when they say drop the hammer, the proverbial drop the hammer, we go live now, and they turn around and don't do that. Maybe I'm wrong. That would be the greatest thing, but I don't believe that's going to happen. It's my opinion. Anyway, you can read the rest of the article. It's very long. It's already been a 20-some minute video. Sorry I rushed through it. I know I spoke very manically. I'm always concerned with just rambling on, so I speak about 3 times faster than I normally do. If you watch some of my other videos, you can tell that I speak in a much more calm monotone, or meter rather. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Be well, stay balanced. Namaste.